Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Wage War, Stigma, out June 21st on Fearless Records. The album has 10 tracks, 31 minutes in length, and this is the band's fifth full-length studio album. They are an American metalcore band. Now, when it comes to the design of this record, I felt the album to be a little bit chaotic, but that chaos that exists within this record is just a result of the diverse sound approach that the album has. I wouldn't go as far as to say that this is a roller coaster ride, because an album that offers that sort of experience still allows you to see a little bit of a connection between the tracks, and that there is a flow that you're following. It's just that it has peaks and valleys. This record at times it feels quite disconnected from song to song. It's more of a compilation style record with 10 individual strong songs, but not necessarily 10 songs that work well in the overall collective and the overall idea of a full-length album. Now, when it comes to the sound and that diversity of sound, this is a record that doesn't fall under one single umbrella, under one single category. Sure, you can call it a metalcore record, but this is an album that has a lot more to offer than just a metalcore experience. It has house, it has EDM, it has industrial, it has a lot of different aromas, it has a lot of different sound textures that create that chaos, that create that diversity that you're going to find across 10 songs. I think the one element that perhaps is a little bit more predominant or that finds its way into more songs is the electronic side of their sound. But even that element, even that electronic sound, it doesn't follow patterns, and it's not a one-size-fits-all across all 10 songs. I felt that in certain tracks, that sound mixed in with a heavier guitar sound created more of an industrial experience. Almost a Rammstein style approach with heavy riffing, heavy guitar sound matched by that more heavier EDM presence to make the songs feel thicker, bigger, heavier. And other tracks where there's a little bit more of a melodic backdrop, a more traditional metalcore sounding song, if you will, the electronic sounds create more of an atmosphere. They fill in the gaps. They give the songs a little bit more substance. They give the songs a different kind of aroma, allowing the guitars to be more melodic, allowing the guitars to take a different path, to take a different approach, and soften the blow and take a little bit of the steam off of this record. So it's an album where there's a lot of diversity in the sound, there's a lot of quality in the sound, but it's really hard to pinpoint or ever really feel comfortable with where you are and where you're going, because you just don't know what's around the corner. And outside of that electronic aspect that's pretty much existing throughout the entire record, just in different shapes and in different sizes, you have guitars and drums that, in my opinion, have a decent impact on this record. And what I mean by that is that this is not a guitar-centric record. This is not a guitar-focused record, because it's more about how the guitars work with that electronic side of their sound versus the guitar being the drivers of the experience, the drivers of the record, and have a clear impact and be in the pole position as far as what pushes this album forward. Having said that, it doesn't mean that the guitar sound, it's not good. It doesn't mean that the guitar sound, it's not present. I actually found that the guitars on this record, there's a lot of great riffs, there's a lot of great guitar sound throughout. The closing riff, even the riffs throughout the song like Tombstone are phenomenal, really heavy, really groovy, and really helping giving the song a little bit more of a sense of intensity and aggression. And then you have the other side, like the song Self-Sacrifice, which has more of an industrial experience where the guitars are a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier, a little more pungent. So this is an album that still relies heavily on the guitar sound to create these different textures, to create these different images. It's just that I didn't feel like the guitars had this predominant role. They were just more subjugated to working hand in hand with that electronic side in order to create a different experience song in and song out. The drums the same. I felt like the drums perhaps even less of an impact than what you get out of the guitars. The drums felt a little bit bland at times, sitting too far back. Even in the songs that have more of that industrial sound, more of that heavier sound, I didn't feel like the drums were pushing through enough. They were just there in order to create the bass line, in order to create the foundation for the track, but not really breaking through, not really giving us some moments where you can see their clear impact on the song and on the heaviness of the songs. They're always there, but they're more of an element and not necessarily one that defines itself within specific tracks. Now, when it comes to the vocals, I think that is the strongest piece of the puzzle. The vocals on this album are really good. It doesn't matter if you look at the clean vocals, it doesn't matter if you look at the harsher vocals, it doesn't matter if they're added with electronic elements or not. I felt like the vocals on this album really gave you the most out of each and every single song while capturing the essence and the soundscape of the individual songs themselves. So this is a great record vocally, in my opinion. I really feel like it's the strongest piece of this puzzle. And it was consistently strong from start to finish without necessarily feeling linear, without feeling balanced, without feeling repetitive. This is an album that has ebbs and flows in terms of what the vocals are offering you, but you can always count on their consistency, you can always count on their quality. And I think there's another thing you can count on the emotional drive behind the vocal performance. This is an album that feels pretty raw from that standpoint. Considering how electronic the overall sound is, the vocal performance comes across a little bit more organic, a little bit more emotional, a little bit more raw. And when you put all of these pieces together, I think what you end up with is 10 songs that have a hard time coexisting with one another. I actually feel like out of these 10 songs, you could make 2 outstanding EPs, but 2 outstanding EPs do not make an outstanding record. As far as favorite tracks are concerned, I want to start off with Self-Sacrifice. It starts off almost like an R&B EDM style song, very electronic, with that house sound, if you will, and that sound kind of becomes the backdrop of the entire track, even though the song moves into a more heavier, almost industrial experience, and you start to see that coming through when the first chorus hits. Now, the beauty of this song is that once that first chorus hits, it gets stuck on that, almost on loop. It becomes repeated, but it repeats itself in a way that makes the song super hooky, super catchy, and not boring at all. Even though it keeps repeating itself, it doesn't sound repetitive. The sound, the heaviness, the impact of the hookiness of that chorus allows it to become almost like a dance song where everything just on repeat, but the heaviness behind it dilutes that sort of repetition. And as a listener, as a metal listener, you become a little bit more focused on the heavier side of the track. Great song all around in terms of how it offers that sort of experience and allows something that repeats itself to not sound repetitive. Next, you have Blur, a more traditional metalcore sound, if you will. The keys, the electronic sound on this track creates more of a haziness, of an atmosphere, which adds to the overall melancholic sound of the track, and the vocals, the clean vocals, add to that same melancholy. Now, there's the heavier side of the vocals that add some intensity, and you see that in the chorus. Very melodic sound-wise, but a little bit more intensity when it comes to the vocals, and the vocals really help enhance the different moments of the song. It's a very catchy song, it's a great catchy song. The vocals also offer quite a bit of layers, and that allows the track to have a little bit of life, to have a little bit of energy, even though it's very melancholic in sound and vocals and from a lyrical standpoint. Last but not least, Hellbent, one of the softer songs on this album, but it has a nice kick in the chorus. It has a lot of melody, both musically and vocally. It brings that emotional side that I was talking about earlier to the surface, and in this case it comes to the surface with the melody that the song has, but also with the vocal performance. The clean vocals on this track are outstanding, and they carry that emotion real well. They allow it to bubble all the way to the surface. They feel very connected with the lyrical content. Then there's this heavier guitar bridge that almost gives you a sense that something is about to happen. It doesn't really happen, it just extends the song, it just prolongs the song, and then the track closes off with a more electronic, synthetic, atmospheric sound, almost like a sense of finality. There's the air coming out of the balloon at the end of the track. Definitely one of the softer songs all around in the record, and that softness allows that more emotional side to come through, and to come through really well with sound and voice. This is it, Wage War with Stigma, out June 21st on Fearless Records. Hit me up in the comment section, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all at the next video. Take care, guys.